I'm Christina Kaelberer, the pastry chef at Market by Jean-Georges at the W Hotel Boston. Today we're going to be doing a poached pear frangipane, and today we're going to start by making the frangipane batter. So essentially what you're going to start with is the butter, which is going to go into the bowl first, and you kind of want to make sure that the cubes are in kind of a layer. So this is going to be a layering process of the ingredients. You're going to toss the confectioner's sugar over the top. Again, coating the butter cubes, tossing the almond and hazelnut flour on top of that. Also, you'll notice at this point you can almost see no butter chunks. And then pour on top the cold eggs and vanilla. Now, you want to make sure that you coat the butter cubes with all of the other ingredients, because if the eggs and the butter touch, the eggs kind of coat the butter that's cold and makes it a little bit more difficult to have the butter incorporate into the batter. So we're just going to mix this on low for a few seconds, about 15 seconds. Then we're going to kick it up to medium to get that butter working a little bit more for about 30 seconds. Then we're going to kick it all the way up to high for another 15 seconds. And you can really notice that the butter is really starting to break down at this point. And then we're going to turn it back down low. And you're going to mix this for about 10 minutes in order to get the sugar and the butter really creamed and a little bit fluffy. So you incorporate that air without having a leavener. So now that our 10 minutes is up, we're going to stop the mixer. And now we have a super light, frothy consistency of the batter. And we're going to put it into our pastry bag to then pipe it onto parchment. And I like to have the pastry bag fitted with a very large round tip to ensure that when you pipe the round of the batter, it's really consistent and nice and round. So we'll just fold over our pastry bag, kind of push down the batter just a little bit, feed it into the pastry tip. And I have pre-cut parchment circles, or round squares, and you can either use like wax paper or parchment you can get pretty much at any grocery store. So I'm going to start directly in the center and just kind of let the batter fall out around. And you don't want to push too hard so that you get too thin of a circle. And you also don't want to pipe directly onto the parchment. And now what we'll do is take this tray and stick it in the freezer for about a half an hour just to let the batter set up so that when we go to bake it, we can invert it onto a plate and peel away the parchment. So now we're going to start by making the poached pear. Now we use a small Forelle pear. For the individual plated dessert here at the restaurant, it makes it a nicer portion size for the guests so they don't feel overwhelmed. So essentially I just started by peeling a pear and taking out the bottom with a little tiny Parisian scoop. So you just kind of want to scoop out the seeds so that it doesn't end up on the final plate. So we're going to add the water to our pot, the star anise and sugar, a sliced lemon, and our vanilla bean. So now with your vanilla bean, you want to make sure that you split it and take out the delicious seeds. We also put the whole vanilla bean in there to steep with the rest of the aromatics. So now we're going to bring this mixture up to a boil, add my pears, let those cook for about 20 minutes covered with a little bit of parchment, and then we're going to take that off the heat and let it cool completely. So now that my pears are fully cooled, now we're going to take the frangipane from the freezer and bake it on into the oven. So we're going to take the frangipane that's been cooled on the parchment, take an oven-safe baking dish, turn it over onto the plate in the center, and just gently peel off the parchment. Do that with the second one. Now we're going to bake these directly onto the dish in an oven at 350 degrees in a convection oven for about 7 minutes. And now for finishing our poached pear frangipane, we have taken the frangipane out of the oven. Place it onto a plate for serving so your guest doesn't burn themselves. Now we also want to make sure that the frangipane is a little bit liquid in the center. We're going to take our amaretto ganache, place it directly in the center of the frangipane, and then take our cooled poached pears, tap them just a little bit to take off the poaching liquid. So now we're just going to place the pear into the frangipane, and now you'll kind of notice that the undercooked frangipane is kind of hugging the pear. Now we're going to take some of our candied hazelnuts and gently cut them up just in half or in quarters. And we'll sprinkle those around the pear. And there you have your poached pear hazelnut frangipane.